Well, weather-wise, another picture-perfect night in Cincinnati, and we welcome you to Great American Ballpark. It's a decisive game in this three-game series. The final 4 games of a 2010 campaign. Johnny Gomes and the Reds celebrating a National League Central Division title 2 nights ago, and now desperately trying to secure home field advantage in the opening round of the playoffs. Hi again, everybody, alongside the Cowboys. Jeff Brantley, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. And let's get right down to it. After losing the game last night, Cowboy, and San Francisco winning against Arizona, coupled with another giant win earlier today, I mean, the Reds really got to get Major League down to business in these final 4 games if they want to start here next week.
Well, you would like to go into the playoffs on a high note, and this month has been kind of up and down for the Reds. I can see nothing better for the Reds in the best case scenario is for them to go out and win all 4 games that they have left to play. Whether that puts them in a best spot in the second place as far as their record and not having to play the Phillies in the first round, whatever it does, it lets them go into the playoffs being on a high note.
Well, they'll try and win this series tonight before they turn their attention over the weekend to the Milwaukee Brewers, who come to town. We know Bronson Arroyo will be pitching in the playoffs, and he's on the mound for the final time in the regular season next.
Cincinnati Reds and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Well, our telecast tonight on Fox Sports Ohio of Reds Baseball, and every night the entire season presented in beautiful high-definition television, courtesy of H.H. Gregg. Another beautiful night, at least by the first pitch in this one at 7:10 here in Cincinnati. What about the remainder of the evening? Let's check in with Tim Hedrick.
Weather gods are smiling on Cincinnati, I'll tell you that. Tonight looks beautiful. First pitch right around 76 degrees. When you're going home, we're looking at temperatures in the mid-60s, winds out of the north at about 10. 3-2 count, bags loaded, 9th inning. Ball 4. Make them pitch to you. Make them pitch to you.
Very nice. All right, Bronson Arroyo tonight, Cowboy, gunning for win number 17 to cap off the best year of his career.
Well, he is looking to have a record unlike he has ever had before, and this has been a season unlike he has ever had before. And what better to cap it off going into the playoffs than to have a record win number 17. He's done it every way you can possibly do it.
Now, you look at his postseason numbers. He's pitched in 10 games. It was 0-3, 0-4, 0-5 with Boston. He only made 2 starts. In the starts, he pitched well, not nearly as well out of the bullpen, but Cowboy, let's face it, that's a long time ago. He's much more polished for the postseason now.
I don't think there's any doubt about it, Tom. When you're young, things change, and I think that even in the time that we've seen Bronson Arroyo here, he has changed. He has become one of the top 5 or 6 pitchers in the game, not just in the National League, in the game. And what better pitcher to lead you into the playoffs than that guy right there?
Arroyo set to take the mound, and we're set for baseball. Astros and the Reds. By State Farm, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. By Ford F-Series trucks, the best-selling trucks, 33 straight years. By Just for Men, for mustache and beard, keep your edge. And by Skyline Chili. Whenever you're feeling good and hungry, it's Skyline time. There you get a look from Columbia Parkway on the east side of Cincinnati.
That's good looking.
It really is. Looking downriver. And welcome back to Great American Ballpark. The Astros starting lineup presented by Cincinnati Bell. Bourgeois, Keppinger, and Pence to start it. Lee moves over to first base. Johnson at third. Bogasevich is in left field with Tommy Manziel, the shortstop. Humberto Quintero behind the plate. And Brett Myers having an outstanding year on the mound. Bronson Arroyo delivers ball 1 to Bourgeois, and this game is underway.
Look at those starts. 32, 2 complete games, going for a record-setting 17th win as far as Arroyo is concerned, that is. Be the highest he has ever had in a win total in a season.
Arroyo has already eclipsed the 100 victory mark in his major league career earlier this year. 102 wins in his career against 93 losses, and outside of when he initially broke in at the major league level consistently with Boston, until this year it pitched on sub 500 teams and was still ripping off 14, 15 wins per year. See the last 3 outings for Bronson Arroyo gearing up for the postseason. They have been very, very good starts.
That bottom outing, Tom, that was an outing where he could have gone another couple of innings, but he was pulled out of the ball game early because of the way that the offense was going at the time. I'm not sure that he was ready to exit.
Two and two on Bourgeois, to be followed by Keppinger and Pence in this opening inning. Bronson has pitched very well against these Astros, and there's a base hit into center field to begin the inning. Let's take a look at the Reds on defense, brought to you by Ford. Left, center, and right, it'll be Johnny Gomes, Drew Stubbs, Jay Bruce. Cairo for Scott Rowland at third. Giannis for Cabrera at short. Phillips and Votto on the right side with a battery of Arroyo and Ryan Hannigan. We talked last night about Bourgeois filling in for Michael Bourne, the National League leader in stolen bases. Well, they don't lose a lot speed-wise with Bourgeois. Quick throw from Hannigan, and he dives back in safely to first. Bourgeois 11 steals in 15 attempts.
They may lose a little bit from the offensive prowess, but as far as speed, as you said, they don't lose much, and they don't lose much on the defensive side either. You know, Tom, coming into this ballgame, we talked about Arroyo looking for his career high victory in 17. Well, the same goes for the guy he's facing in the other dugout, Brett Myers. He's had a heck of a year of his own, and he is also looking for a career high.
Grounded foul. 0-2 on Jeff Keppinger. Well, you look at the win totals for Arroyo since coming to the Reds, and as we mentioned, every year until this year, the Reds have been a less than 500 team. But win seasons of 14 and 06. He had 9 wins in 07, where he actually statistically pitched better that year, but got far less offensive support. There's a fly ball into right. And in the 3 successive years, Arroyo has gone 15 and 11. 15 and 13, and now trying to make it 17 wins this year.
Well, as you said, he's already gotten a career high in 16. But when you talk about 17 wins and being 17 and 10 on a year, you don't think about being 15 right in that area. If a guy's 15 and 10 or something like that, you think of him as maybe, well, he's a number 2 guy or maybe number 3. When you start talking about 17, 18, 19, I think you're in a total different category.
Under Pence, a batter, and rolls over one foul. 0-1 to Pence.
And I think one of the things about Bronson that we've really seen him grow up in a Reds uniform, as far as his numbers, as far as his goals that he sets, they're not really about Bronson Arroyo. They're about the team. When you talk about starts and innings, yeah, they're great for Bronson, but they're also what the team has to have from their number 1 guy.
Pence having a rock solid year. 284 batter, 25 home runs, 91 runs batted in.
And to do it choking up like that. You and I were talking about that last night. It's one thing to be as big as Bonds was and choking up the way that he did, but this guy is way up the barrel. Check that out right there. I mean, he is up.
And he bangs one into left field, a base hit that'll advance Bourgeois into second. Second hit in the inning, and there are 2 on with 1 out. Big Carlos Lee coming up.
Everybody wonders about Carlos Lee playing first base tonight. It's one of the things that Brad Mills had talked to Carlos about. You move him over there, you allow him to really expand his ability, but you also have a chance to get some of your younger players in the outfield to see what they can do.
Lee had a dreadful start to this season and has really come on strong. That one popped up, and Giannis will wave off the oncoming Johnny Gomes for the second out of the inning.
And he's got some coverage at shortstop.
Took the words right out of my mouth. You look up and you expect a guy, when you watch enough games through the years, you expect the shortstop to be in one place. When you look down on the field, he was 3 steps ahead of that place.
And I think a lot of it has to do with anticipation. A lot of it has to do with instinct. But you're also talking about some great talent. I mean, he has been that way ever since he got out of Rice University. I mean, he just flat covers ground.
So now Chris Johnson. We talked about this young man at length last night. .315 batter since being brought up from the minor leagues. Has 11 homers, 22 doubles. Has knocked in 51 runs.
I think
very bright future for Chris Johnson.
I think Brad Mills, talking with him before the ball game, his eyes opened up wide.
Phillips will feed Giannis just in time to get the hustling Hunter Pence on the force play to end the inning. Reds are coming up in a scoreless game. Bell has Brandon Phillips back in the leadoff spot. Miguel Cairo at third. Joey Votto at first. Johnny Gomes, a cleanup hitter in left, with Jay Bruce in right and Drew Stubbs in center. Bottom part of the order, Ryan Hannigan, Paul Giannis, Bronson Arroyo. And what a turnaround season it's been for the one-time Philadelphia Phillies ace, right-hander Brett Myers.
Grass is not always greener on the other side of the fence, but for this guy, it has been nothing but green as green gets. And cash to go with it, with a new contract. 32 consecutive starts of 6+ innings.
And he just turned 30 years old. This guy's been around seemingly forever. He broke in initially with the Phillies in 2002. And strung together 6 outstanding years as their ace on some teams that were just starting to get good. The first number of years, they weren't good at all.
I can remember the first day he walked into the clubhouse telling Kurt Schilling, "I'm going to take your job."
And all of his mannerisms, his body build, it's almost as though you're watching Schilling with the facial hair.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're built so similarly.
He holds the glove up close just like Schill did.
Wears a uniform, a little on the baggy side like Schilling did. His follow through, all his mannerisms. You would swear he was almost trying to copy everything Curt Schilling did. And if you got to pick one guy, that's not a bad guy. Two and two on Brandon Phillips.
That is the one thing when you watch Myers is he gets straight up and down here on the backside before he ever goes to the plate. And you can see how high the leg kick is and also the drive through to home plate. But you've got to get that firm base before you ever head plateward.
Breaking ball stays up and in to run the count full on Brandon Phillips. 271 hitters, 17 home runs, 55 driven in.
You don't stand tall and stay strong on the backside as a pitcher, your hand will not catch up. You end up throwing with your elbow down and the ball goes everywhere.
Still 3-2.
And I would imagine, Tom, as time goes on for Brett Myers, he won't be adding pitches because there's really not a pitch that he doesn't have in his arsenal. He's going to be taking some away so he can be more consistent with fewer pitches.
Ball four, a walk to Brandon Phillips to begin the game. Take a look at Houston behind Myers defensively, presented by Ford. Bogusevic is in left field, Bourgeois in center, and Pence is in right. Mancella and Keppinger the middle infield with Johnson and Lee on the corners, and Quintero hanging aside. 33rd start of the year, an ERA of under 3 for Brett Myers.
I don't think
trying to chop him down in the decisive game of this series.
I don't think they ever thought that when they signed him. I really don't. I think they signed him as maybe a bullpen guy, hoped that he could be a 4th or 5th starter, and he has exceeded everybody's expectations.
Last year, many forget he was the opening day starter for the Philadelphia Phillies, obviously beginning the year in their starting rotation. Wound up ending the year in the bullpen. He had surgery to repair a torn labrum in his right hip in early June. Went out on rehab, didn't come back to the major league club until September. And was on the postseason roster. He pitched both in the Division Series and World Series, and Phillips easily steals against him.
Even with the slide step, and this is an abbreviated slide step by Myers, there's no chance for Quintero to throw out Phillips. Phillips gets a great jump here, almost too good of a jump. And Myers trying to do whatever he can to keep him from going there, but you pick that leg up that far, Phillips is going to take it every time.
Miguel Cairo a check swing, and he went around too far. 2-2 on Miguel at 288. 4 home runs, 28 runs batted in.
Something we really haven't seen out of Brandon a whole lot is the stolen base weapon. Last year and the year before, it was almost a foregone conclusion he was going to make that move to second base.
3-2 on Cairo. Of course, early in the year is when Phillips hurt his hamstring, and then he went about 3 or 4 weeks trying to get through the pain in there, re-aggravated the injury. So really for about 3 months of this season, he wasn't running at all.
They totally shut him down, basically telling him don't run at all.
He appears to be running very well now. Of course, be careful what you wish for. He got hit on the hand out in San Francisco, so he's had to deal with that.
Right there with you.
Deep in a hole, and as soon as he cut it loose, Phillips alertly advances on to third base. That is outstanding base running by Phillips.
And at that point for Manzella, it was do or die. It was either throw the ball to first or take a chance on Phillips going back to second base. Watch the ball on the ground. Phillips starts back. You really don't have a chance as a shortstop there to check the runner. You're either going to get him at first or you're not. You see Phillips start to back up, and then he catches the eye of Manzella. Manzella never had a chance to turn to look at him. Great job of base running by Phillips.
So now runner at third with only one out for Joey Votto, and he takes a breaking ball high. 37 home runs, 111 runs batted in for Votto. Second in the National League with that .325 batting average. The home runs, he's third. The RBIs, he's third. And again, depending on what voters gauge as importance to a winning team, the three primary contenders for the National League's most valuable player are Votto, Carlos Gonzalez in Colorado, and of course the great Albert Pujols in St. Louis. Votto will be the only one playing in the postseason. Now, you don't count the numbers, good or bad, what he does in the playoffs. All of those votes technically are supposed to be postmarked before the playoff games begin. But if you say to yourself, yeah, all three have had great years, the numbers are almost identical, which one do you go with? Oftentimes, being on a team in the playoffs give you a leg up. We'll see. Tommy, 1-2.
I was listening to a Cardinals broadcast the other night, and even their guys were talking about, there was really no talk about Carlos Gonzalez. All the talk was about Votto and Pujols. You see the numbers right there. They are similar all the way across the board. But the point that they were making, this is St. Louis now, their announcers, the point they made is how valuable Votto was to this club.
Well, he strikes out here with a runner at third and one out, and that's the second out of the inning, so Johnny Gomes will have to try and get a 2-out hit.
A very slow curveball. It's the first one we've seen Myers break out, and you can see the grip there. He's really got his fingers tight on the ball there, also with the thumb, and you see the rotation. It's straight over the top from 12 o'clock on the clock all the way down to 6 o'clock, and it drops right straight down.
Well, you have a couple of nicknames for that kind of curveball.
The old Louisiana breakdown. That's what I like to call it.
Well, you've also broken out from time to time the old Yellowhammer.
Yellowhammer. But I like the Louisiana breakdown because that one there starts in Memphis and drops all the way down to New Orleans. And when you've got one that can drop that far, you're covering a whole lot of mileage.
Gomes blasts one to straightaway center field, but right at Bourgeois, and that'll end the inning. Reds miss a chance with a runner at third. No score. Serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Well, he doesn't get much bigger than that. The weekend series of the top two teams in the NL West, the Padres and the Giants. Where some Padres 2 games back going into play today. The Giants have already won their game. So San Diego playing right now in a scoreless game at home against Chicago. Trying to remain 2 back in the West with 3 to go against the team in front of them. And trying to pull within 1 game of Atlanta in the wild card. Bogusevic with a 2-hopper to Votto for the first out here in the 2nd inning of a scoreless game. Here's all you need to know, long and short of it. For the Reds to get the number 2 seed in the National League playoffs, this is as simple as it gets. The Reds have to win their final 4 games tonight and all 3 games over the weekend. The Reds would need San Diego to lose their game today or lose just 1 game of their final 4. Technically, it would have to be today and then sweep the Giants over the weekend. That would give the Reds 1 more win than both San Diego or San Francisco. Because if they have identical records, because of their head-to-head meetings, the Reds would not win a tiebreak against either San Diego or the Giants.
Well, that makes yesterday seem a whole lot more important than it looked.
That one ripped into left field by Manzella. And that's a 3rd hit of the game for the Astros against Bronson Arroyo. 1 on, 1 out. Don't forget, coming up on Sunday, it's Fan Appreciation Day, presented by Walgreens. There'll be drawings for fan prizes throughout the game. You can win trips, merchandise, gift cards, coupons, so much more. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or go to reds.com.
What you just talked about there was almost like putting together a Rubik's Cube.
And don't you dare ever ask me to do that, because we might be here for a while.
We might be here a while trying to figure out all that winning and losing and winning and sweeping and losing again.
In essence, even though the Reds are only 2 games behind the Giants,
really 3.
It's 3 because of the tiebreak. So again,
and explain that so everybody knows what you're talking about by the tiebreak.
You got to find a way to make up 3 games against San Francisco, and the Giants have already won today. So the only way you're going to make up 3 games against the Giants is for them to lose their final 3 games. But you throw in now San Diego, and knowing that if they were to win today and then sweep the Giants over the weekend, that would give them 92 wins. The most games the Reds can win is 92 games. So you need the Padres to lose the game today and then sweep the Giants over the weekend if the Reds are going to be guaranteed home field advantage in the division series.
And the tiebreaker is head-to-head competition, and both the Padres and the Giants hold that over the head of the Reds. That's why it has to be 3 games instead of just 2. If we tie with either one of those clubs, they go ahead of us simply because they have beaten us head-to-head during the season, which means Reds face the Phillies first round.
Liner caught by Votto, and it's a double play.
He caught that just as he stepped on the bag. Take that one every time.
Tundra signs in the outfield during our game tonight. Josh Brown of Vinton, Ohio, will win the new Tundra on display at Great American Ballpark. And there you get a look at it. Register for your chance to win in an upcoming game by stopping in your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. We have 3 home games left.
Nice play, Votto. Reaction. Nice catch of the ball. Ball almost takes his glove off. Hey, let me tag first base here before I head to the dugout. You can see just about any pitch at any time from Brett Myers. Changeup, fastball, cutting or sliding, slider, curveball. And he's got a little split finger that he'll throw every once in a while if the changeup is not where he wants it to be. So as I was saying earlier, he's got all the pitches.
Jay pulls it foul. 2 balls and a strike. No matter what Jay Bruce does for the rest of his career, and it figures to be a great career in front of him, just 23 years young, he will forever be a part of Reds lore for that game-ending home run to clinch the National League Central Division title 2 nights ago.
That's the part you love the best right there.
No doubt about it.
It's okay for grown men to act like little kids.
More of us should act like little kids. But I do have some friends that probably overdo that a little bit. A lot of very good friends for a long time. They haven't figured out the part that maybe I should act like I'm 47 a little bit more frequently. Straight away center field, hit a ton. And Bourgeois will watch it go.
One of the reasons you cannot count this club out, Tom, is because of the youth of this club. Nobody knows what they can or can't do. I mean, that baby's middle away, and he hits it like it was off of a rifle shot. You start talking about young players and seeing what they can or cannot do. There's quite a few on this club that have yet to maximize their potential.
That one hooked into left field, a base hit by Hannigan. So a single by Bruce, a 2-run home run by Stubbs, a base hit by Ryan. You know, you look at the entire body of work when all is said and done, and through all his ups and downs, and I'm not sure there's been a more streaky player on the Reds team this year than Drew Stubbs. But when all is said and done, you know, to think that this guy right now is sitting on 22 home runs and 75 runs batted in, and has managed to get the batting average up over the 250 mark, to go with nearly 30 stolen bases. He can't qualify for the Rookie of the Year because he played in just a few too many games, had a few too many plate appearances last year. And I got to tell you, for a guy playing his first full year in the major leagues, Cowboy, if he were officially a rookie, he would run away with the Rookie of the Year.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. Those numbers that we just had up tell you how much improvement that Stubbs has made over the course of a season. You start out and you're hitting in the low 200s, I mean, look back where he was in June. I mean, this right here, I mean, 230. Come on, they were ready to run him out of town. Now, over the last couple of months, 296, 302. A lot of this is being comfortable in your own skin and knowing you belong. And once you realize that and you know that you can compete here, it gets awfully fun. And for Drew Stubbs and Jay Bruce, it's getting fun in a hurry.
You know, the thing I think a lot of us, it's easy to forget, both Stubbs and Bruce are #1 draft picks. In fact, #1 draft picks in back-to-back years. When Jay Bruce came up that first year and set the world on fire, the bunt is put down and they get the out on Hannigan. So the fielder's choice makes it 2 away in the inning. It's a nice play by the catcher there, Quintero.
Nice play by Quintero. I'm not so sure that Manzella didn't jump out of the way before he caught the ball on the back. It looked like Hannigan took his hands to his helmets because he thought he was safe.
You know, to finish the point on Stubbs, so much was made about Jay Bruce coming to the major leagues, and he had a lot more buildup than Drew did because he was a Baseball America Minor League Player of the Year. But in 108 games that first year for Jay Bruce, he had 21 home runs and knocked in 52. Now, Stubbs has a lot more bats and a lot more plate appearances this year than Bruce did that year.
Right.
But the bottom line is, Stubbs has hit more home runs in his first full season, and he has driven in far more runs than Bruce did in his first year. And it should be noted, when Jay came to the big leagues, primarily after the Reds brought him up, he was batting anywhere from 4th to 6th primarily. Sometimes leadoff, did a lot of that in the first year.
Right.
But Stubbs, after beginning the season leading off, and it didn't go well in April, he's hit primarily 7th or 8th the entire year.
And Stubbs coming out of a program like University of Texas, and Jay basically being a high school kid out of the state of Texas, you see the two talents starting to mesh together, and you see how long it takes to actually go through the minor league system, get to the big leagues, get comfortable, and then start to produce on a regular basis. And both of them are kind of hitting their stride at the same time, with a whole lot more to come.
Well, you know, it is so exciting to think about that duo. I mean, forget everybody else. We can talk about Votto, we can talk about Phillips, we can talk about a whole lot of guys up and down the pitching staff and the bullpen, starting rotation. But those two guys right there, to think what they're capable of doing over the next decade, look out, man.
The thing about it, too, Tom, is if I'm the opposing pitcher and I've got to face this ball club, I already know Phillips and Rowland. I know what Votto's going to do. I have a pretty good idea about Cabrera and Johnny Gomes. But I don't really know what I want to throw to Stubbs. I don't really know what I want to throw to Jay Bruce. I know I can probably get him with a breaking ball if I throw it right, but what if I don't? You know, I mean, these guys are doing things now that we haven't seen them do all year. It's kind of scary if you're standing out there on the big hump. Because when you throw one and it goes over the fence, you don't get it back.
1-2 to Brandon, and he strikes out to end the inning. But Drew Stubbs, with Jay Bruce aboard, the two young Texans putting the Reds in front 2-0 at the end of 2 innings.
I don't know exactly where it came from, but yeah, I mean, we've been close for a while, and we'll get it done. Yeah, I'm not worried. I wasn't worried the whole time. It's just a matter of you got to get your priorities straight. And our priorities, and my priority was to win the pennant here. To win the division first, and then we'll worry about me later. We're close, so I don't know exactly where it came from, but yeah, I mean, we've been close for a while, and we'll get it done. Yeah, I'm not worried. I wasn't worried the whole time. It's just a matter of you got to get your priorities straight. And our priorities, and my priority was to win the pennant here. To win the division first, and then we'll worry about me later.
Dusty Baker commenting on where he is in terms of a contract extension. His contract runs out of the initial 3-year deal he signed to come to Cincinnati. His team leads 2-0 as we begin the third inning. Bronson Arroyo facing his counterpart, Brett Myers. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike to Myers. He'll be followed by Bourgeois and Jeff Keppinger. Bronson has allowed 3 hits. He's not walked a batter, and he's looking for his first strikeout of the night.
It's a pretty good pitch.
It's rarely ever talked about, although players certainly know all about it. There's a check swing and a miss, and that is the first strikeout of the game for Arroyo. Cowboy, I know you know all about it. When you're on the mound, who's a pitcher's umpire, who's a hitter's umpire on pitches just like that one on the 2-2 count. And boy, you get in the playoffs, what an enormous difference position can be.
It's a huge advantage for a pitcher to know who's behind home plate. I'm trying to tell all of our young pitchers that are on this ball club or on the Reds ball club that you keep a scouting report on the umpires just like you do on your opposition. And if you don't, you're going to be awfully foolish, because every umpire is different. They're individuals. Their calls are individualistic. Some have a high strike zone that's very tight. Up and down, they'll give you a strike all day long. But outside of that, it's a ball. Some are low and wide. You got to know which is which.
In the air to right field, and there are 2 away in the inning. We brought up the name earlier of Curt Schilling. And I really had the pleasure. It was an honor to watch the run that Randy Johnson and Curt Schilling had together. They had a 3-year run that was the best statistical run of any 2 pitchers on one team in the history of Major League Baseball. You can talk about Koufax and Drysdale. You can talk about any of them you want to talk about. You just go look up the numbers. And Johnson and Schilling were unrivaled over a 3-year stretch, and I was lucky enough to be there. Schilling's preparation against the opponent and his preparation for the umpire behind the plate may be unrivaled in the history of the game.
I've seen him do that from the time he was in Philadelphia, even after his surgeries, and he didn't have a whole lot and couldn't pitch in the ball game. He was still keeping tabs of the umpires behind home plate. And I think that it doesn't really matter if you're a starting pitcher or a relief pitcher. You have to know what the man in black is going to be calling when you come into the game.
In the air, left center field, hit a long way and into the seats. A solo home run for Jeff Keppinger. Only his 6th home run of the year. It makes it a 2-1 game.
Keppinger looked like he got a fastball up in the strike zone, and he unloaded on that bad boy. Normally a fastball here that drives the ball right back up the middle, but this ball runs right back over the heart of the plate, and those pitches usually go a long way, and that one did. When you start to see the catcher as he sets up outside, slide that mitt back towards the middle, just close your eyes and hope.
You want to reach out there and grab it, don't you?
Yeah. You can't grab it, though.
No, you can't.
Sometimes you want to grab it as it's leaving, because you know it's gone.
Hunter Pence a single into left field in the first inning. Reds got a 2-run home run from Drew Stubbs in the second and lead by a run following the Keppinger home run here in the Houston third.
But when you don't walk guys and throw strikes, you're going to give up home runs every once in a while. You just don't want to walk somebody in front of the guy that's the home run hitter. You keep those free passes to a minimum, the home runs become solo shots. And more times than not, the solo shots won't beat you.
A 2-hopper to Yadish. He'll throw out Pentinettle in the inning. Keppinger the home run to left center. And after 2.5, the Reds with a 1-run lead. Detroit in Green Bay to take on the Packers. Others will see Carolina and New Orleans. Into the nightcap, the Redskins and the Eagles from Philadelphia. Donovan McNabb heading back to Philly. Coverage begins Sunday at noon Eastern with the Ford Fox NFL pregame show. Check local listings for the game and time in your area.
Packers are starting to look like the old Packers, my friend.
They gave away one the other night.
Green and mean.
Oh, yeah. And what an unbelievable environment that is at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And let me tell you, brother, when they call it the frozen tundra at 2 games there in December last year,
it is
the frozen tundra. 1-1 on Miguel Cairo.
That defense is starting to make a name for themselves. Especially Clay Matthews. Goodness gracious. Golly. He comes through there like a bandit.
Had 6 sacks in the first 2 games of the year.
Ouch.
We got a kid from the University of Cincinnati who's getting a lot of playing time in their secondary. Brandon Underwood was drafted out of UC last year. Grew up in Hamilton, Ohio.
Must be
2-2
a
on Miguel Cairo.
Must be a burner.
Oh, yeah.
Because you don't play in the secondary in the NFL anymore unless you can flat pick them up and put them down.
Nope. 2-2 to Miguel Cairo, and a bouncing ball foul wide of third. And of course, Green Bay has a lot of players as well that started collegiately at Ohio State.
Is Matthews a Florida guy?
USC.
Is he?
His daddy played at USC. One day will probably be inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame, I would imagine.
Yeah, I knew he was a second generation player, but I mean,
a lot of years in Cleveland.
Something else.
The thing that's amazing about Clay Matthews Jr. is he walked on at USC.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
2-2 to Cairo. And just off the outside corner, Myers wanted the call, did not get it. Miguel grounded to short. His first time up.
When you walk on at USC and turn into what he's turned into, that is instant RESPECT.
Behind the second base bag, that'll be easy for Keppinger. 1 out. Well, right now you can chat with Hall of Fame baseball writer Hal McCoy. Plus check out Bruce Hooley's Big Ten report on FoxSportsOhio.com. Presented by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO and SafeAuto.com. Tell you what's happening with the Buckeyes, who open Big Ten Conference play this weekend in Champaign, Illinois. Joey Votto struck out his first time up. San Diego and the Cubs are in a scoreless game at the end of 4 innings, just starting the top of the 5th out west. And again, we repeat, you are rooting like crazy for Chicago to win that game, and then for San Diego to turn around and sweep the Giants over the weekend if you'd like to see the Reds clinch home field advantage for the first round. Oh, and by the way, the Reds have to win tonight and sweep Milwaukee over the weekend. That's the only way it will happen. If San Diego wins out, it doesn't matter what the Reds do. San Diego would have a 2 seed. If the Giants win one more time, they will have the 2 seed. And if the Reds lose one more game, they are guaranteed not having the 2 seed. Three and 2 on Joey. He struck out swinging on a breaking ball his first time up. Still 3 and 2.
So San Francisco sits atop of that division now at 91 and 68. Is that right?
The most wins the Reds can have is 92.
Right. And that's if they sweep.
San Diego, should it win, including tonight's game, its final 4 games, would have 92 wins as well.
If they win.
And in a tiebreak, they would win the tiebreak over the Reds. So that's why I say you're rooting for San Diego to lose today, sweep the Giants over the weekend, and the Reds have to win out. That's the only way it happens. There's ball 4 to Votto, and he'll take a 1-out walk. Second walk issued by Brett Myers. And for those of you that have asked the question, and Cowboy, I know you were a little bit surprised by this, and it shouldn't be a surprise, really, or not a surprise if people don't know. Atlanta's win total doesn't matter.
The wild card does not matter.
And of course, I guess I should follow that up by saying that if Atlanta were to get swept over the weekend or even lose 2 out of 3 and San Diego were to sweep over the weekend against San Francisco, the Padres or the Giants could end up being a wild card.
Be a little different story.
That's not a done deal with Atlanta. Strike one at Johnny Gomes. Braves are off today. And so with 3 games to go.
Well, the Braves and San Francisco are. Well, San Francisco will be off tomorrow. They're not off today.
They start that series tomorrow. Tomorrow being Friday against San Diego. 1-1 to go. Good rip at that fastball, and he fouled it straight back. Myers ahead of Gomes at 1-2. It is looking more and more like, through all this minutia, maybe some of you feel like that we're talking about in regard to the playoff race, and I hear you, believe me. I mean, barring those scenarios which we just talked about, and there are a couple of others that we haven't. As Gomes has gone on strikes. If the Reds are forced to open on the road, as of today, it would be in Philadelphia.
Change up here. Just catches the corner right at the last moment. And boy, when you're looking for a 93-mile-an-hour fastball and that kind of arm speed with that much deduction in the speed of the baseball, it's tough to hold back.
Jay Bruce with a single into right field his first time up, and to put all this to bed for you, the only other option would be opening in Philadelphia on Wednesday or opening against the Western Division champion on Thursday.
This is where it's awfully tough being a hitter against Myers, because you just don't know what he's going to throw. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure that his catcher knows what he wants to throw right here. You only have 5 fingers. You know? And what I was talking about as we began the ball game, those 20 pitches per inning.
That one into right center field, not hit especially hard, but hit in the right spot. And Votto may have been confused about how many outs there were in the inning, because 99 times out of 100 he's standing at third base.
It did not look at all as though he had a jump. And the ball is hit, and he's just jogging. I'm not. He may have just kind of been in no man's land at that point. And that's normally not him at all.
Votto is without a doubt among the best base runners on what has been an outstanding base running team this entire year.
There's no doubt about that. He just must have had a brain cramp. He's allowed one every now and then.
Bruce Stubbs homer to center field his first time up, and he's gone on 3 pitches this time. End of 3. Reds with a 2-1 lead.
Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers, where you can register to win the Tundra at Great American Ballpark. By JTM Food Group, proudly serving the finest food service industries in the industry. Restaurants, schools, and the military. JTM Food Group. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15 minutes, 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by GMC, we are professional grade.
Carlos Lee to begin things here in the fourth inning. Lee fouls it away. He popped up to the shortstop, Paul Janish's first time up. Lee to be followed by Johnson as that swung on and fouled back to the screen, and Bogusevic. Reds leading 2-1. We're in the top of the fourth inning. Reds won the opening game of this series, clinching the NL Central 3-2 on the home run by Bruce 2 nights ago. Shut out 2-0 here last night. Bouncing ball to Phillips, and Lee retired to begin the top of the fourth inning. Take a look now at our AT&T trivia question tonight. Which two managers in Reds history have led the team to consecutive postseasons? Now, one of those, for anybody, as a slam dunk, 25 to 105. We'll tell you Sparky Anderson. That's a no-brainer. But what about the other? Say the one guy who didn't get a chance, and you played for him, Cowboy, and I'm still convinced every franchise has black eyes of decisions it has made through the years. And one of those for the Reds was firing Davey Johnson.
Oh, no doubt. He's the best manager I've ever played for. I've said that many, many times. I don't know why that is. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Davey speaks his mind, and some people don't like to hear that.
And in a day and age when you start looking around at all the teams in baseball and all the managers, the recycled managers, if you will, that are managing in baseball today, to think that no one has hired Davey Johnson since he left the Dodgers. But in the end of the 1990s, some might say, well, he's an older guy. Well, yeah, he is an older guy. So is Jack McKeon when he left here and went down to Florida and took him to the World Series. Davey Johnson still the manager of Team USA. Easy for Votto, and Johnson retired, 2 out.
Davey's just not one of those guys that is going to sit back and play a guy that's not contributing to the team. He's not going to play a guy just because he makes $15 million and he's supposed to play every day. He's just not going to do it. Never did. It's part of why he won when he was in New York. When you sit down a $15 million player, you know what happens? He gets better real quick. Real quick.
Bogusevic bounced out to Votto his first time up. Looks at a fastball in the outside corner. It's 1-1.
Arroyo throws one pitch down that Bogusevic takes. Throws the same pitch, same speed, and just elevates it just a little bit, and he swings right through.
Bogusevic, a very interesting story. Was a first-round draft choice out of Tulane as a pitcher. First round in 2005. Well, he continued to pitch all the way 2008, but started to become more and more of a position player. In fact, last year was the first full year as a position player, and hit 6 home runs, knocked in 53. There's a swing and a foul ball out of play, and had a very good year this year. So they decided, why not give it a try?
He's always been able to run, obviously with a good arm, and he's got great baseball instincts. Speed, great arm, great baseball instincts. Those are things you can't teach a guy. You've got to come with that.
Tapper down to Cairo, throws on the run, and Votto able to stretch out and get it, and Arroyo has his first perfect inning of the night. Reds lead 2-1 as we go to the bottom of the fourth. All the gear from the Central Division Championship game the other night. So get your gear straight from the source. It has it all. ShopTheReds.com official store right now.
And that gear looks pretty good. Actually looks real good.
Looks really good. Ryan Hannigan to be followed by Paul Janisch and Bronson Arroyo. Reds leading Brett Myers in the Astros. A 2-1 count. Bruce Stubbs a 2-run home run in the second inning. And Jeff Keppinger cut the lead in half with a solo home run to left center in the third.
Kind of expected a pitcher's duel coming into tonight with both of these guys really wanting to push their win total of one more notch, and they've both been able to do it seemingly at the drop of a hat each time they've been out there.
In foul ground, Chris Johnson dropped it after he had it, and the umpire immediately signaled Scott Berry down there at third that he had it and that he was reaching in to get it out. Well, you be the judge. Did he?
Yes. Closed the glove, caught it with both hands. He actually caught the baseball as textbook of a catch as you can do it. I have a feeling that guy's going to be playing third for the Astros for a while.
1-1 on Janisch. He struck out swinging against Myers in the second inning. This time on the ground to his counterpart, Manzella, near 2 away. All right, time to answer our AT&T trivia question tonight. What 2 Reds managers have taken the Reds to the playoffs in back-to-back years?
Maybe Fred?
We know Sparky Anderson, Bill McKechnie. In 1939 and 1940, won a world title with the Reds. And of course, he would make such an impression on the Pittsburgh Pirates franchise as you look at the Reds managers that have taken to the postseason or will take them in Dusty's case this year. Talked about Davey Johnson. You know about Lou Piniella, 1990. John McNamara in 79. The late Fred Hutchinson. But of course, Bill McKechnie had such a great imprint on the Pirate organization that they named their spring training facility after him down in Bradenton, Florida. And there's strike 3 called to Arroyo, which will end the inning. 6 strikeouts in a game for Myers. Reds still lead him 2-1. By Drew Stubbs, straightaway center field. A 2-run home run, number 22 on the year for Stubbs. That came in the second inning. Put the Reds out in front 2-0, and now it's 2-1.
Manzella started at shortstop earlier in the year and has basically been supplanted by Angel Sanchez. Sanchez has played the bulk of the time since he was traded to the Astros. Manzella was a pretty big prospect in this organization for a while, but he has just not hit in the big leagues. These are the kind of games where you've got 2 solid pitchers going back to back. You think, well, it's going to end up being 1 pitch or 1 play where it's just not quite executed in the correct way.
A 2-1 ball game, and Manzella to lead things off. And that ball is smoked into right field. Jay Bruce will get there in time.
Boy, the jumps he gets, we talk about it every time, but it's amazing that he can go get the balls that he gets, and other outfielders just cannot get there.
You know, we brought up the name a moment ago, Cowboy, Bill McKechnie. One thing I did not know about him, we mentioned about what an outstanding manager he became, but He was actually the first manager to win World Series titles with 2 different teams. Did it with the Pirates in 1925. That was a team he broke in with in the major leagues. Then won it with the Reds, as we mentioned, in 1940. I did not know he was the first to do it. And of course, what's interesting is about McKechnie and Anderson, the answer to our question a moment ago, is Sparky Anderson won World Series titles with 2 different teams. Sparky and Tony La Russa, if I'm not mistaken, are still the only managers to win World Series titles in each league.
It's no easy task. Manage a long time and not have the clubs to do it.
Swing and a miss by Quintero. He's out of there on strikes. And that's 2 of them tonight for Bronson Arroyo.
A sidearm fastball upstairs. When you're watching Arroyo come through, look how the fingers around the baseball here. Nice and loose. The thumb is almost off the ball as he releases it, and the ball continues to glide upward. If you're Quintero there, you're thinking that ball is going to come run inside on you, and the ball continued to carry up and away.
Red Meyer struck out his only time up. And it's 2-1.
Myers threw Bronson Arroyo an 0-2 changeup to strike him out in his last at bat. Arroyo was just standing. There's nothing he could do. Right on the money. I've seen Arroyo do that to a lot of other pitchers, but not a guy like Red Myers that you would consider more along the lines of a power pitcher.
Struck him out looking, and that'll end the inning. Myers thought it was ball 4 low. Back-to-back perfect innings for Arroyo, and he still has a 1-run lead. Finishes off Arizona sweep in that series. San Diego, meanwhile, in a scoreless game in a 6th inning against Chicago. San Diego trying to pull within 1 game of a National League wildcard lead. 1 game behind Atlanta if San Diego wins. They're currently 2.5 behind the Giants, but with a win would be within 2. And the Giants and the Padres, as you look at the NL West standings presented by Honda, will play the final 3 games of the season. And those 3 games, by the way, will be at AT&T Park in the Bay Area.
Oh, man.
First pitch swinging to begin the Reds' 5th. Brandon Phillips sets an easy out.
Crowded and loud.
Well, we told you about it for the first time last night. I want to remind you, after every playoff game, turn immediately to the team that has covered the Reds all season long. Jim Day, Jeff Pecoro, Chris Welsh will give you the most comprehensive highlights and reaction from the players and the managers after every Reds playoff game. Just switch right over right here to Fox Sports Ohio, and we'll take it from there. The home of the Reds, Fox Sports Ohio. And it doesn't matter when those games start. If it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 4:30, 7, 8 o'clock at night, or playing out west at 10 o'clock at night. We'll have it for you, the post game, right here. Two and two on Miguel Cairos, grounded to short and popped up to the second baseman Jeff Keppinger. Joey Votto waits.
Well, these are the times that you come to the plate, especially as the game gets deeper and deeper. With Votto standing on deck, you, as Miguel Cairo, you want to do whatever you can to get on base in front of him.
And that's exactly what he does.
Talked earlier about Schilling and Myers and how close they were and how much Myers wanted to be like Schilling. Well, there it is. All they're doing is peeping right over the top of the glove. You hide everything. You hide your mouth, just peeping over. And it also gives you tremendous balance to start that way. Check this out. These deliveries are almost identical except for the fact that Brett Myers has just a little bit bigger leg kick and a little bit more body turn. But other than that, they could be twins.
And it's interesting to note that Curt Schilling wore number 38. Brett Myers wears 39.
He wants to be one better. There's one thing that you will not separate of those two, and that's the fact that they are both competitive big time. 32 starts in a row to begin this season, all 6+ innings. You can't tell me that that guy on the mound is not competitive.
Saw the note a couple of nights ago where Felix Hernandez, a great pitcher in Seattle, made his 30th quality start of this season. 6 or more innings, 3 runs or less. In 30 of his starts this year, one of just 5 pitchers in the last 30 years to ever do it. And
it's amazing.
Curt Schilling's running mate out in Arizona, Randy Johnson, one of the others to do that. Greg Maddux has done it. The other 5 are all either in the Hall of Fame or they will be in the Hall of Fame. Greg Maddux, as I mentioned, Johnson and Steve Carlton did it.
Well, if Brett Myers does it tonight, win, lose, or draw, he's going to move ahead of Tom Seaver, the former Cincinnati Red, in 5th place.
All of a sudden, Myers can't find a strike zone. He retired Brandon Phillips on the first pitch of the inning on a bouncer to third, and has issued back-to-back walks to Cairo and Votto. This
is the part of the Reds offensive unit that amazes me and has all year long. It doesn't matter if it's 2, 3, 4, or if it's 7, 8, and 9. They can strike at any time.
And a base hit into left field. They are going to hold Miguel Cairo at third base. And the Reds have him loaded for Jay Bruce with only one out.
First pitch fastball from Myers. Gets it middle in, and you don't throw it middle in to Johnny Gomes on the first pitch with runners in scoring position. He's going to powder it. And powder he did.
First pitch swinging Jay Bruce, and he got an off-speed pitch. He didn't get that first pitch fastball from Brett Myers.
Myers has already shown today that he can throw both curveball and changeup for strikes at any time. And after seeing Jay Bruce hit that home run out of the ballpark off the left-hander, I don't know that he's going to get a fastball for a strike. He may get one way inside. I don't know that he's going to get one that's across the plate.
Just got underneath it, lifts it in the air, foul ground, first base side, and room for Carlos Lee. Cairo comes about a third of the way down the line and stops right there. That's a big out for Brett Myers.
Looked like he got a hard cut fastball or a slider right in on his hands, and he was out in front of it just a tad.
Those will be the kind of at-bats in the postseason that will be magnified unlike any at-bats. Players like Jay Bruce, Bruce Stubbs, Johnny Gomes.
They'll be game with you either win the game or lose the game with those at-bats.
And that one hooked into left field by Drew Stubbs, and this will bring in a couple of more. So Stubbs is knocked in for tonight.
Tom, we talked about it earlier about the kids. You just don't know where to pitch them. You want to say breaking ball? All right, well, let's say breaking ball. But if you're going to throw him a breaking ball, you better get it down. And that was a breaking ball that was right about belt high. And Drew Stubbs ripped that baby into left field.
4 RBIs tonight means 77 of those on the year for Drew. And a 3-run lead, largest of the night.
Right pitch for Stubbs there, or for
another base hit into left field by Hannigan. They're going to wave around Johnny. Here comes a throw. It's offline. And both runners try to advance, and now Stubbs caught in a run down. And is safe. Very sloppy tag attempt there. And Drew slid right underneath it. Brad Mills is going to come out and argue, but you can see that from all the way up here.
Well, it looks to me like Myers is having a really difficult time with the breaking ball. Another breaking ball up in the strike zone. Stubbs ripped it into left field, and now Hannigan does the same. Hustling all the way around is Gomes. The throw is offline. Now, watch Myers pick the baseball up. He throws it to third. Stubbs decides, well, I got to go. And he slides right underneath the tag. And he laid down. He laid his back on the dirt to slide him underneath the tag. That tag there by Johnson, he's got to get himself in front of the bag. He was actually on the foul side of the bag trying to reach for the tag. You can't do that in a rundown. You got to be in front of that bag.
Reds now with a 4-run lead. They're on the corners. And Giannis takes on the outside edge, 1-1. So Hannigan an RBI single. His 40th batted in.
You and I were talking about execution being a difference in this ball game. Well, execution on the pitcher's part or lack of that, and then a defensive miscue to go along with it.
The inning began with a 1-hopper to third off the bat of Brandon Phillips. 1 pitch, 1 out. Then Myers put himself in big time trouble. He walked Cairo, he walked Votto, allowed a single to Johnny Gomes to load the bases, but then it looked like he might escape when he got Jay Bruce on the foul ball to first. But since then, 2 out hits to drive in runs by Stubbs and Hannigan.
Times have we said that this year, Tom, about talking about 2 out hits for this ball club. And this ball club, if they weren't last in 2 out RBIs last year, they were among the bottom 3. And they have turned this thing around like no tomorrow.
They've been the best 2 out hitting team with runners in scoring position in the entire league. It's in the air left field. Drifting back on it is Bugasevic, and that'll end the inning. But Drew Stubbs, it began in the 2nd inning with a long one to straightaway center field. He drives in 2 more in the 5th. Reds lead 5-1.
With you, and there's been some talk about adding a second wild card team to the mix in the playoffs. It's our focus of our Meyer text poll question tonight. We'd like to know if they add a second wild card team and giving the top 2 teams a bye, it would 1, help the MLB playoff system, or 2, hurt it. Text 1 or 2 to 37664. Standard text message rates apply. We'll have the results coming up, and I'll be interested to hear the thoughts of a Hall of Famer that's joining Tom and Cowboy in the booth.
Well, you're right about that. One of the all-time great second basemen in the history of the game. Back-to-back most valuable player in the National League for the Reds in 75 and 76. And really, I think deserves as much credit for everything he's done since he left playing baseball as he did on the field. We're talking about, of course, old number 8, Mr. Joe Morton.
Well, you're right about one thing, old number 8. I just had a birthday a couple of weeks ago. So,
well, belated happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
You know, you're so close to Bud Selig, and you're so close to the game. You're on the the board of the Hall of Fame. What do you think about adding another level or team into the playoffs?
Well, I was enthused over the first time, and the reason that I was enthused over the first wild card is it assured you that the 2 best teams in each league were going to be in the playoffs. If you remember back, I don't know, a few years ago, the Giants and the Braves were tied with 100 wins on the last day.
I think it was.
Yeah.
93, I was on that team.
Right. And the Giants, I was broadcasting for you then, and they lost. So they were out of the playoffs. And Philly went in, and they had like an 80-something win season.
He had 103 wins, right, and they had 87.
Yeah, and they were in the playoffs. So that wasn't fair. The two best teams in the league were not in the playoffs that year. So adding the wild card gave you that chance to do that, and now it always happens, the two best teams. Now, adding the second tier, the way I understand it, might help.
That's in the air off the bat of Bourgeois. Easy for Jay Bruce. 1 out.
It may help because right now there's no advantage to winning your division, that much advantage, over the wild card. And if you look back, the wild cards have won the World Series a few times recently.
You're exactly
so there's not a big disadvantage to being the wild card, and there should be a big advantage for winning the division. So if you put two wild cards in, they could play each other to see who gets in. They would have to use their #1 pitchers.
Right.
Now that would give the division winners, a little help.
Of an advantage.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it. But
that one's in the air.
These guys don't want me here. They're
I asked you to come in, and thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
Look, you see all the big guys. You see all the teams in baseball with the work you're doing week in and week out. Let's start with the Phillies.
Right.
Now, you played on teams in your career that were the best team in the regular season. There was not a shred of doubt about it going into the playoffs. Your teams, more times than not, backed it up by getting it done in the playoffs. But Philadelphia, A, are they the best team without a doubt in the league?
Well,
and
I don't
B,
know
are they beatable?
Yeah, I don't know if you can say without a doubt, and they're definitely beatable. As you know, both of you know this. All right,
stay put. You're not sticking around.
No, I have nothing to do. All right.
Rocks and the Royals now retired 10 in a row. The Reds have a 4-run lead. Stick around. The great Joe Morgan stopping by the booth. Stuff right here, Cowboy.
It really is. You talk about the different arm slots from Bronson Arroyo. Well, there's #1 right there. Also, you drop down just a little bit more. There's #2. Well, he's got another one for you. Check it out right here. He's going to come down Laredo. All 3 pitches he can throw from a different arm slot. I'm telling you, if you're the hitter, good luck.
That is a Coors Light Freeze Cam brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light with Jeff Brantley and our entire Fox Sports Ohio crew. Tom Brenneman with Joe Morgan, the Hall of Famer, in the broadcast booth. We're starting to talk about Philadelphia.
Okay. As we all know, this is the second season coming up, the postseason. The first season, you play well, but it's the best team doesn't always win. It's who's playing the best at that particular time. I go back and look at the Yankees. They were just struggled a couple of years to get into the playoffs, and then they were lights out.
Base hit by Bronson in the left field to begin the inning.
So the point is, everything starts fresh when the playoffs start. And all the stuff that you've done in the regular season doesn't mean anything except to yourself. The other teams have to feel like, hey, I've always said this for the last 15 years, that anyone that gets in the playoffs can win the World Series. It's that simple because teams can get hot. And we've seen the Reds, every team that's in there reel off victory.
They all have a chance.
They all have a chance. So, now look, is it going to be easy? Heck no. But that's what makes these rings important, right? That you have to work hard to get there. So I think that it's going to be difficult. And I do feel like the road to the World Series goes through Philadelphia. So whether we go there the first series or the second series, I still believe that you're going to have to beat Philadelphia.
You know, there aren't a lot of guys around, Joe. You are one of them that has played in the best of 5.
Right.
That has played in the best of 7.
Best of 3.
Best of 3, right?
Yeah.
There's a drive way back into left center field and long gone off the bat of Brandon Phillips. 7-1. We'd love to see this guy start to find that stroke here after really being bothered since getting hit on the hand leading up to October baseball.
And let's remember, these runs that the Reds are putting up, they're not coming off Mickey Mouse. Change up, got it down in the, actually it's a split finger. It ends up down in the strike zone, and it runs right back to where, Joe, the head of the bat. I've heard you say that many a time.
Well, that
ain't where you want it.
No, it isn't. But you're right. Yeah, I played in 2 out of 3, 3 out of 5, 4 out of 7.
And I guess the question I was getting at here, do you have any feel for, any theory of, based on what you said it's going to go through Philadelphia, okay, would you rather play a team that will be an overwhelming favorite, nice play by Lee, would you rather play a team like that in a best of 5 or a best of 7? Does it matter?
In the past, it mattered, I think. But the way they set this up, you can use only 3 pitchers for the 5 games. You can use them for the 7 games, so it doesn't really matter. I think you have an advantage if you're the Reds, because I know it's going to sound a little strange to people out there. The Reds are a young team. They're not tired. Some of the guys on the Phillies are, worn. They've been beat up. They've had some injuries this year. They're not 100. I don't know if they're as fresh right now. And if you can steal that first game in a short series, then they're really in trouble. I think
huge advantage.
Exactly. I think we all know how the Philadelphia fans will react if they lose that first game.
They would not be happy.
Thank you, and that would help us. So maybe the 3 out of 5 is a better way to go, because if you can win that first game, it'll change the whole series around. Whereas if a 7-game series, it really doesn't have as much impact.
Now, you have lived for many, many years out in the Bay Area.
Correct.
And when the Reds have seen the Giants, they have literally looked like the best team on the planet. I mean, the Reds have played Philadelphia as tough as anybody can play Philadelphia. A lot of one-run games, a couple of 1-0 games. But the Giants, after not hitting really the entire year, they just knocked the cover off the ball against the Reds. What about their team?
I have to admit, I'm shocked at how well the Giants have hit against the Reds, because the Reds pitching staff is better than that. And when I watched the Giants, I watched them. They beat Chicago 11-0 last week. Then they get shut out for 2 days. That's the way the Giants are. There's no consistency there, but you can never discount their pitching. But as I've always said, if you listen to me, Jeff, on TV, I said, I don't care how good your pitching is, you can't win a 0-0 game.
That's right.
You have to be able to score. And I like the fact that we can score, which in my opinion gives us a chance to beat anybody on any given day.
And Joe, this club can score not only by the home run, but they can also play small ball.
Well, that's the point.
That gives them a huge advantage in those playoff games.
And that's what had happened to the Giants. They were basically becoming a home run team. When they didn't hit home runs, they didn't score. And they weren't hitting a lot of home runs, so they weren't scoring. They went through stretches. If you look at some of their statistics for their starters, there's like 20 out of 27 starts, they scored 2 or fewer runs for one guy. And that, so you can't, if you're asking me would I rather play the Giants, I'd say yes. Yeah. Just for that reason.
Ooh, that ball is crushed into left center field, and Johnny Gomes plays long ball.
How long are they going to let Myers get beat up?
Well, they're trying to get him through 6 so he can have 33, and it doesn't look like he's going to make it.
Oh, okay.
He's had 32 in a row, 6 inning starts coming into the ninth.
I don't know.
And that may be all she wrote.
Hey, Jeff, I don't know if that's as important as turning out there getting beat up.
Well, I believe Brad's seen all he wants to see.
Be the final start of the year for Myers, but what an outstanding year he has had.
Well, that's the reason I don't like to see a guy get beaten up after he's done such a great job all year long.
Johnny Gomes, home run number 18, is knocked in now 85.
When you start leaving the ball up there like that, I don't care who you are.
Well, especially middle end.
Oh, goodness gracious. They hit him a long way.
Well, that's going to do it for Myers. They will bring in the left-hander Gustavo Shashin from the bullpen. Our Skyline Chili call to the pen. All Reds tonight, a 7-run lead. Six to chase Brett Myers in 5 2/3 innings, allows 8 earned runs tonight. Reds with a 8-1 lead. Gustavo Shashin will take over on the mound.
44th time he's been in a ball game. The left-hander's given up 50 hits in 38 innings.
Throw in 19 walks. That's a pile of base runners. Well, Joe Morgan, it's always great seeing you, and it's been wonderful to have you back again in the Reds organization. And I know all the work you're trying to do out there in the community and the inner city and reviving baseball, not only in Cincinnati, but in cities in the region and really all over America.
Well, I have to tell you, it's been really more than I could have hoped for coming back here and working with the team, because I didn't realize, I guess in the long run, how much I missed, being around the teams as much. I do the games every Sunday, so I'm still close to the game. But it's not like walking into that clubhouse and talking to the same guys day in and day out. And I have to say this about the players. They accepted me into their fraternity here like with open arms. Sometimes when you've been a guy that's been gone for a long period of time, you're not one of them or whatever.
They kick you to the curb.
Thank you. Well, Jeff, I know. But these guys, they embrace me when I've been in. The guys seek me out, ask me questions about the game, about things, and I'm there for that. So it's been great for me. I mean, it's been very enjoyable just to be around these guys.
Well, it's easy to say, and I mean, there's not even a shred of debate about it. But I mean, with all that you have accomplished on the field, but also off the field, I mean, in your different business ventures, in your relationship and maintaining that relationship is a real powerful force inside the game of Major League Baseball, not just as a broadcaster, but you've really dedicated your life to the game.
Well, I have, and that's why I say it's very important to me to be back here, and I just didn't realize that I had missed it as much because I was always involved. But I was involved, like you say, in trying to help the inner city. I was involved in trying to get more people to play baseball. I was involved talking to the commissioner about things and whatever. But I wasn't on a day-to-day basis.
Nothing like being in that locker room.
Camaraderie. What do we miss most about
the camaraderie?
We miss most I miss that more than anything else about the game, you know.
And it never goes away.
It never goes away. And so me being back now, I feel like the camaraderie's back. And you guys, you know what I mean? And I mean this, you announcers and everybody here, you've always kept me that way, and I run into you. But
well, you're the man.
It's been great. Well,
you're the man when you come back here.
Well,
come on.
No, but I appreciate that. Well, I mean, it's not something that you take for granted. I'll just put it that way.
Well, there's strike two to Drew Stubbs. Joe, obviously you're I know you're not under the weather, but you just don't sound.
No, you know what? I was sleeping the other night after the Reds' victory, and the window was open.
Oh, that got you.
Yeah, I don't have a cold. I'm not, any sniffling or anything, but it goes and comes. This hoarseness, so that's what it is.
Now, you got the division series off, so you're going to have a chance to travel with the Reds and watch them play in person, and then you'll be taking over on radio for the League Championship Series and the World Series.
Well, in an ideal situation, I'm here for the duration. Ideal situation, I won't do the division. I'll be with the Reds. Now, if the Reds can beat the Phillies, I'll be there for the League Championship Series. I'll be broadcasting. And if they can beat whomever, then I'll be there for the World Series. So in an ideal situation, I'm here in Cincinnati for the next month.
Well, then we'll look forward to seeing your always smiling face around the world.
Thank you.
Great to see you, buddy.
It's always great. Thanks for inviting me.
All right, buddy. Great seeing you, Joe.
Thanks, guys.
Good to see you.
Great. Joe Morgan. You saw his number retired here in the history of the Reds franchise, number 8. He's always been one of the most likable guys that ever put on a Reds uniform.
No doubt, Tom. That's one of the reasons I wore number 8 in college, and everybody asked me, well, you're a pitcher, you don't wear a single number. Well, I like it.
Oftentimes for those guys who are around for a long time, network television, doing a big game of the week, that kind of thing, and it doesn't just have to be baseball, but the two guys that have been around forever in the broadcast booth, seemingly, Joe Morgan and Tim McCarver. And man, I got to tell you, there might be people, they'll say the same thing about me doing an NFL game, but for those guys, they're a different animal. I mean, they've been around a long time, accomplished players, great broadcasters, great color analysts. And people will say, man, enough of that guy. To work with those guys, to be around those guys, there's nothing better.
Good people.
The Reds have really piled on against Brett Myers. These last couple of innings, it was a 2-1 game when they came to bat in the bottom of the 5th.
Boy, once it got broken open by the base hit by Stubbs, it was like the water out of the dam. Seems like the Reds have had 2 outs forever.
Well, Shashin came in and allowed a single to Bruce, has walked Stubbs, Drew with 4 RBIs tonight.
Reds have now sent 16 batters to the plate in the last 2 innings. But he's right, Tom. The fact that the Reds have the ability to score both by the home run and by small ball. How many times have we seen the squeeze or the bunt the runner over or score from first to third or score from second? Those things, first to third, all of the base running issues.
3 more runs in the inning. Brandon Phillips, a 2-run home run. Johnny Gomes with a solo blast. 8-1, Reds in front. AT&T. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, rethink possible. By your Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky Honda dealers. Visit mycincinnatihondadealer.com. By Wendy's, you know when it's real. And by Grainger, over 900,000 products to help you get your job done. Grainger, for the ones who get it done. Well, Bronson Arroyo takes the ball here in the top of the 7th inning. He's not allowed a base runner since the home run by Keppinger all the way back in the 3rd inning. He allowed 4 hits through the first 2 2/3 innings, and now has ripped off the 11 consecutive batters that he's retired.
Arroyo gets that feel for the breaking ball and the changeup, moving the fastball around. You saw the different arm angles that we showed you earlier. He makes it awfully difficult to find out exactly what's coming and where it's going to be and how fast it might come.
Chris Johnson tonight is 0 for 2, bounced into a fielder's choice and popped up to Joey Votto.
And he also forgot to tag Stubbs sliding into 3rd.
Breaking ball fouled away. No activity in the Reds bullpen. Arroyo is set to throw his 87th pitch of the night. Trying to win his 17th game of the year. Two Hopper to Phillips for out number 2. Well, we invite you to hold your special event this holiday season at Great American Ballpark and let the Cincinnati Reds help create major league memories that will last a lifetime. Call the Reds Special Events Department and make your holiday plans now. 513-765-7065. And they have some great areas in the ballpark to choose from. That party the Castellini family threw after the clincher the other night down in the Riverfront Club for all the employees. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do, no matter what area you might be in, whether it's part of the grounds crew, part of our stadium operations. All the club employees were invited to a party in the Riverfront Club out there in right field down the first base line.
Well, there's so many places, whether you want to be indoors or outdoors, that you can have a party and you're all by yourself. It's not like everybody else can see your party or come to your party or be anywhere around you. How about the front gate suite that's right over there to the left? It's amazing all the room that they have inside this place that you can have one of those individual events.
At Fox Sports Ohio Champions Club, just a little bit closer to home plate from that Riverfront Club we showed you a moment ago.
That room is awesome.
Yes, it is.
Awesome.
Gone swinging is bogus 7. And Bronson Arroyo, 13 in a row he's retired. 6 outs away from his 17th win. major player spotlight for the ones who get it done, and that has been Mr. Arroyo yet again.
It's amazing that Bronson has gone through this lineup in such a short amount of pitches, and it has really not been a total fastball night. He has mixed in everything. Key number is that one. No walks. You continue to make him swing the bat, keep it on the ground, and especially here, you keep it in the ballpark. Jeff Fulcino is the new pitcher for the Astros. So he has 49th appearance, a 5.48 earned run average. 50 hits and 46 innings, 22 walks to go with it. It's another thing this Astro club is really going to have to improve upon is somewhere in the middle part of their relief area.
Well, it appears just based on the reaction in the dugout, and then there goes Bronson Arroyo. It looks like back up into the clubhouse that he has recorded his final out of the night and the final out of the regular season. The best regular season Arroyo has ever had. And miscommunication there. A ball that Keppinger, it looked like, should have played.
That was Hunter Pence's fault. Hunter Pence called him off at the last minute. And a lot of outfielders make this mistake. They call the infielder off before they know exactly they can catch the baseball. And that's exactly what Hunter Pence did there. Watch Keppinger peel off. He peels off because Hunter Pence called the baseball and he couldn't get to it.
Well, naturally, that'll be scored a base hit.
Keppinger looked like he was just going to coast right back there and make the play.
Easily. So the final numbers on Arroyo, you saw him. 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 run. Retired the final 13 batters he faced. He allowed just a Keppinger home run in the third. Arroyo did not walk a batter all night long. And boy, the Reds starting pitching from a control standpoint has been just spectacular here over the last number of weeks.
It really has, Tom. And a lot of that is the internal competition from the Reds about getting a starting spot or getting a spot on that postseason pitching staff. The Reds have one of the best problems you can have. They've got too many pitchers for not enough spots. And when you have that, you're going to get a lot of competition in that area. And not only will it extend into the playoffs this year, it will extend into spring training of 2011.
You took the words right out of my mouth there, because, I mean, you want to talk about some major league competition. It's one thing to be on the playoff roster. Obviously, everybody wants to be there, but just the way the schedule is set up, you know, you're only going to need 4. But when you're talking about going into a regular season with a 5-man rotation, unless the Reds decide to package up some of these youngsters and make some deals as Willie Bloomquist shoots one to right off the bench. I mean, you look at all the guys that will be in competition for 5 spots in the rotation next year. Goodness gracious. I mean, let's not forget, Edinson Volquez wasn't around in spring training to compete for a spot in the rotation.
I know. And there are a lot of young arms on this staff that, I mean, you count them out. I mean, there have been just about 10 starters or 10 guys that have started games, maybe more than that, if my math is off. And that's without adding anybody new to spring training. And you know you're going to have some new arms come in. You do every year. Who would have thought Mike Leake would come in and take a spot this year? Not me.
When you think about Arroyo's a given. Well, I shouldn't say a given. The Reds have a a contract with Arroyo that the Reds would have to pick up the option on that contract to make sure that he is back. But everybody else is 27 or younger, and I always say 27 because that is one guy. And that's Volquez. There's a base hit in the center field that will bring in Giannis to make it 9-1. And Brandon Phillips, a couple of hits tonight, has driven in 3.
And you're right, Tom. Volquez is 27. The rest are 25 or 24. A sinking fastball from Phillips. He's starting to get that hands inside the baseball swing that he had earlier before he got hit with the baseball. He's got a home run tonight. He's also got a base hit right back up the middle. And he's starting to see the ball better. I think he's able to grip the bat with a little bit more authority. It's got to make him feel good, and it sure makes the Reds feel good.
And injured on that pitch is the catcher, Humberto Quintero. That ball may have been fouled off.
Looked like the ball hit the handle of the bat or the knob of the bat. And boy, that caught Quintero in not a good spot. It's going to be a check swing here. And you can see the ball just bounce right off, and boy, it got him good. Catching is no easy task. Looks like it got him right on the thumb for a minute.
Those guys are so tough to play that position. They are so tough. And that's why it makes it even more remarkable when you see the guys that play that position and that are really good offensive players.
The ball looks as though it's a check swing off the bat as he reaches up.
Well, it got him maybe right in the sternum. You know, I know they have the protection there, but you never know. Ball comes at a certain angle sometimes.
You don't know.
Right on the spot.
You don't know. That's what's so crazy. I mean, even with the gear, when the ball hits you, it hurts like crazy.
Well, we brought up his name last night, and now we bring him up because he was my partner for so many, many years. And Bob Brenly, he's talked all the time about just taking one off the face mask. You know, one of those check swings, and bam, it hits you right in the mask. Yeah, you've got a mask on.
That's like,
and yeah, it has padding on the inside. But he said, go ask a boxer who's sparring with somebody, and they have that headgear on, and all of a sudden they get whacked in the face. There's an out on a liner into right field, one away here in the inning.
Yeah, that's the equivalent of a Muhammad Ali shot straight to the jaw. And I'm talking about straight in, where it knocks your head straight backwards. I mean, we've seen umpires, we've seen catchers that are staggered by those blows, or some goes straight to the ground and are out.
Well, Joey Votto will be taken down for a pinch hitter. It'll be Yonder Alonso. And Brad Mills still managing here with his team down 9-1. He's going to go to his bullpen and bring in Wesley Wright. 1 in, 2 on, 1 out. Back in a moment. From JTM. Before the game today, not only fed our entire television crew just outside the ballpark, but here you're going to look at Jesse Jackson. He was first and last in line. But all the security folks around the ballpark, Declan Mullen and his crew, the police that work here at the ballpark each and every night, anybody who could find a way to get over there, JTM was feeding them, and we say thank you very, very much. Great stuff as always, as Wesley Wright gets ahead of Yonder Alonso, strike one. Reds lead 9-1 with 2 on and 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Joey Votto went 0 for 2 tonight, walked twice, scored a run. San Diego comes to bat in the bottom of the 8th inning in a scoreless game against the Cubs.
Tommy, if Yonder Alonso is going to hit at this level consistently, he's going to have to shorten that swing. It is way too big. Because when you come in and you've got to face guys that know how to change speeds in the same spot over and over again, you've got to be able to get the bat head to the ball in a hurry and still retain that power.
Well, you said power. That one driven to deep right center field, and making the grab up against the wall is Bourgeois.
And he almost had his first one.
That is a great catch made by Jason Bourgeois.
Hit it right on the nose. And Wesley Wright, one of those left-handers that's got that straight fastball, and boy, he tagged it. Timed it just perfectly. Looked pretty short and quick there, didn't he?
Sure did.
Ball coming to the plate, gets the hips open. Gets the bat head out there. That was actually a breaking ball that just didn't have a whole lot of break to it, and he hooked it into right center field.
May have got it a little bit down near the end of the bat.
Out on the bat, yeah. I mean, the kid has phenomenal power. It's one of the things that we saw from Joey Votto when he first came to the big leagues. His swing was a little bit long. Boy, he shortened that up, and he has been a terror ever since.
Izzy. An easier try this time for Bourgeois, and that will end the inning. We've played 7, and the Reds lead 9-1. TBS. The excitement begins October the 6th with the Division Series on TBS. And again, a reminder, after every playoff game, tune into Fox Sports Ohio. The The crew that has covered the Reds all season long will have the post-game show after every playoff game. Jim Day, Jeff Pecoro, Chris Welsh. From the home of the Reds, Fox Sports, Ohio.
Reds have made a few changes here. Bill Bray will come on to pitch. Bray is on the mound. Alonso will stay in at first base. Chris Heisey will stay in and left field. Willie Bloomquist will be, let's see, where is Bloomquist?
Bloomquist is second base.
Second base, that's right.
Well, of course, we've talked so much, most recently, about left-hander Aroldis Chapman, rightfully so. Arthur Rhodes, rightfully so. But make no mistake about it, this man right here will be asked to get some big outs in his playoff postseason run for the Reds as well than Bill Bray.
I don't think there's any doubt about it.
Especially if indeed the Reds play Philadelphia, a left-handed heavy hitting lineup.
Well, Bray has not allowed a run in his last 5 times out. Left-handers against Bill Bray, this is why you have him on your roster. They're 5 for 46, which is a 109 average. And if not for a couple of hanging breaking balls, they would be less than that. Because when he was coming back, he was having to work on that breaking ball a little bit.
Swings in the air to left field, and immediately Heisey will get a chance. 1 out. It's interesting you say that. We just talked about Philadelphia. Bill Bray made his first major league appearance since 2008, earlier this year when the Phillies were in town. He came in and gave up a home run to left-handed batting Raul Ibanez. For the next couple of weeks, as you pointed out, Cowboy, he was really trying to find his way back and find his release point, find his mechanics, find his command. And once he did, he's been mighty tough.
Well, the breaking ball has been an issue for him, and that was a breaking ball that Ibanez hit out. And he knows as well as anybody that that's his job. His job is to put left-handers in the books, and he wants to make sure that his breaking ball is just as consistent as the fastball when it comes to location.
Ryan Esposito batting for Quintero, who is injured in the bottom of the 7th inning. Hopefully he's going to be all right.
One thing that I do like about Bill Bray is when he comes on the mound, even when he hasn't pitched in 4 or 5 days, he still seems to have his good stuff.
Nasty breaking ball there, and gets a strikeout, 2 away.
This is the breaking ball that we were talking about earlier. Starts up and away, and that baby finishes on the back foot. You're swinging at a pitch that if you hit it, it's going to hit you in your front leg. Just keeps dropping and keeps driving down and in.
Matt Downs now the pinch hitter for Wesley Wright. Wright 2/3, all zeros. Well, I beg your pardon, they made that double switch when Wright came in, so he is technically still in this game. Downs part of that double switch when he took over at third base, so I beg your pardon.
Bray loves to pitch inside, especially to the right-handers, and then when he follows it with that breaking ball, as you saw with Downs there, those feet go sprawling. It's tough to tell the difference.
Came back with a fastball, and it's Drew Stubbs underneath it. The last Astro to reach was a home run by Keppinger in the third. 9-1 Reds. Joey Votto. That line drive he snatched away. That would have been a foul ball. But he got that glove out there holding the runner on. Tapped the bag at the end of it. Double play to end the second inning. And the Reds with a 9-1 lead. Esposito remains in the game behind the plate after batting a moment ago for Quintero. And it's Wesley Wright still on the mound.
It's also one of those plays, Tom, had he really aggressively bounced off the bag as if to get towards second quicker, that ball may have been down the line. It did look like it was going to head foul, but heck, in this day and age, you never know.
Good night for Jay Bruce. 3 hits and has scored a run.
Well, we said thank you earlier, and fans, listen up. If you're in the restaurant industry, let JTM help you with your great tasting products for your menu. Inspired solutions, better results. JTM. Cooking them up today.
4-pitch walk to Bruce to begin the bottom of the 8th inning. I'd like to remind you, you can place your deposit now for the 2011 Reds season tickets and secure the best seats at the lowest prices for another, which should be exciting year of Reds baseball. With a deposit of just $100, you will guarantee huge savings, plus exclusive benefits and experiences available only to Reds season ticket holders. Visit Reds.com/tickets for further details. So another pitching change it will be from Brad Mills. 9-1 Reds lead. Jay Bruce at first. Nobody out. Bottom of the 8th inning. Henry Villar, the new pitcher for Houston, replacing Wesley Wright. And they'll have to hurry if they're going to turn 2 on Stubbs. They're unable to do so. 1 out in the inning.
Only the 7th appearance for Villar this year.
As painful as it may be, having to root for the Cubs, if the Reds have any hope of being the number 2 seed in the National League playoffs, the Reds fans would like Chicago to beat San Diego. And Brad Snyder with an RBI single off Heath Bell to give Chicago a 1-0 lead. The Cubs still batting in the 9th inning. For San Diego, what a devastating loss it would be. They would fall to 3 games behind the Giants with 3 games to go. I guess the only good news for the Padres is they don't have to have help from anybody else. If they want to get there, they can go to San Francisco tonight and open a 3-game series beginning tomorrow night and try to handle it themselves.
Backs against the wall.
Fly ball left center by Ryan Hannigan. 2 out.
But it just goes to show you, Tom, you're talking about Brad Snyder, who was not even part of the Cubs roster up until just a couple of weeks ago. And yet he's the one that gets the big hit against Heath Bell. Anything can happen in September. As Joe Morgan said earlier, anything can happen in the playoffs. You just got to get there.
And for San Diego, what an amazing season it has been. They need to win that game to pull within 1 game of the wild card and stay 2 behind the Giants in the West. Atlanta off tonight. They'll start a 3-game series tomorrow night against Philadelphia. Downs will throw on to first, and that will retire to side. Good work by Villar. Houston will bat in the 9th with the Reds in front 9-1.
Breaks down the action with the most comprehensive highlights, exclusive interviews with the players and Dusty Baker before anyone else. That's Reds Live, brought to you by Kings Honda and the Kings Auto Mall. Visit KingsHondaUSA.com.
Well, Dusty Baker's Reds 3 outs away from their 89th win of the year. And Cordero trying to nail it down. 16 straight Astros have been retired since Jeff Keppinger hit a home run with 2 outs and nobody on all the way back in the 3rd inning. Bronson Arroyo in line to get win number 17. Allowed the 1 run without a walk, struck out 4 and 4 hits in 7 innings.
And this is part of being a closer. When they come in bunches. When they don't, you feel like you're never going to be on the mound again.
Bruce will run it down in right center field. 1 out in the ninth.
It's the first time that Cordero has been on the mound since the 26th of September. Before that, it was the 21st of September. This will be twice in almost 10 days.
And then you throw in the fact that you know he's going to get a little work sometime this weekend. Obviously, he hopes for a save chance.
Just to get the adrenaline up and get it flowing. As you know, if you got a save attempt in the postseason, that adrenaline will be pumping. I guarantee.
Well, you've been down that road.
I feel like your heart's going to jump out of your chest.
Fly ball again out towards right center, and this time Stubbs will handle it. And the Astros down to their final out of the night.
Well, the Reds have put on an offensive show tonight against the guy I never would have thought they would have put 9 runs on the board on him, Brett Myers.
I'm with you there, partner.
But that is a good one.
Well, he's the kind of guy you're going to have to beat pretty much every night in the playoffs. On the ground to Giannis, and the Redlegs nail it down. The last 19 batters set down by the trio of Arroyo, Bray, and Cordero.